So Stu, you've ridden enduro bikes back in the day, and you've been riding a Harley for the last 14 years, and this is really your first blush with an adventure bike. What was your first impression?
It's tall.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat short.
Yes.
But it's extremely sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like really top-notch in everything on this. I thought at first because of the height that it might be a bit intimidating, but once you get on it and once you start moving, it becomes almost intuitive the way the whole thing works.
Right.
Shifting is just smooth as could be. Traction control, I think, came in at one point when I was riding earlier, and you could feel a little bit of something going on. Wasn't quite sure what because I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
But then I realized what it was. ABS came in when I had to brake rather quickly. These are things I'm not used to, and my goodness, they just come in so smooth that you go, oh, did that just happen?
Yeah.
It's already looked after that for you, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I got to spend the better part of a day yesterday on this bike, and my lasting impression, not my first, but my lasting impression, man, I love that motor.
Oh, without question. It becomes almost a little difficult to not let the motor go, which is to say, it wants to rev.
Yeah.
And it's very smooth, it makes no noise, it just keeps climbing, and you look and you go, oh goodness, I'm going a little quicker than I should be.
Yeah.
It's just a wonderfully smooth motor. Plus, the design on this one is such that the two inner or rear of the four cylinders are narrower, thus it's not taking up knee space.
Right.
Riding a Harley, you use up a lot of knee space.
Yeah.
This does not have that as an effect at all, and again, that motor is so smooth. Leaving it in any gear and going from a low RPM to a high RPM, you can pretty much drag it all over the place. There's no stalling, no hesitation, nothing like that at all.
You mentioned the brakes. We've got dual discs up front with ABS.
Yeah.
Nice brakes at the rear. Stopping feel?
Stopping feel is quite good. I don't use the rear brake much. I use the fronts mostly, and I found myself doing that on this. One thing I found with the rear brake is I had to move my foot forward to get it, so that were I to purchase a bike like this, I might find out if there was a shorter rear brake pedal. Just a small thing. Similarly, much of this can be fine-tuned and adjusted to somebody my height rather than your height. And those were things that I was doing on the fly as we were moving. The windshield I adjusted down as I was going along, just so that I wasn't trying to peer over it. No, you know, once you adapt these things to your own style, as I say, I'm sure you could go for hours and hours without thinking about it too hard.
Yeah. So this is really interesting, comparing two guys, two different heights. For me, the riding position, this sort of upright, hands forward, very wide sort of stance. I found it very comfortable throughout the day. How did you find the riding position?
I found the riding position fine. Now, what I might have done would be to take the bars and adjust them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of my wanting them just that little bit closer.
Yeah.
These are little things that you can do. Similarly, the adjustment, I believe you can adjust the preload on the dial down here.
Yep.
So, given whatever riding you're going to do that day, adjust the preload. Adjust it for more highway. If I was going from here to Winnipeg, fine. If I were going from here to Madoc and wandering around the back roads up there, then we might soften things up for the dirt, that sort of stuff. So yeah, you know, and those adjustments are all there. They can all be done without too much difficulty. You know?
Yeah, and you mentioned this earlier, but this is so tricky. You're talking about adjusting things on the fly. And this was very nice.
I did it as I was coming up one of the hills, simply thinking, oh, you know what, this is too easy. And it's just that. You can set it up so that you are not getting as much deflection, and then lower so that I could see over it that much more. When it comes to more twisty, windy roads, for the highway, I think I'd probably put it up. More wind coming away from you.
Overall, fit, finish, gauges, how did you like the layout of the gauges here?
The layout of the gauges was very good. I'm not quite sure what RPMs I was going in because I was following more which gear I was in, and
yeah, you got the tack up here.
Yeah, and it's more of a linear rather than a numeric.
Yeah.
So it shows you RPMs and say you want you to stay out of the red zone. That's fine. And as I said, because you can simply keep it in almost any gear and go slow to fast within that gear, there's no issues of having to upshift, downshift, that sort of thing. Works out quite well.
The luggage system, did you get a chance to poke around and check that out?
Saw what it is capable of. You could take quite a lot of gear with you on almost any kind of trip. I don't pack a lot going anywhere. This would be more than enough for me.
Yeah.
With me, it would be camera equipment, things like that.
What do you think about just the overall fit and finish?
Incredible. Like, again, I mentioned sophistication. There's no question that it's there. My concern would be I would be afraid to get it dirty because it's such a good-looking bike, you know?
For me, after spending an entire day, 10 hours of riding, I found the saddle was just a little uncomfortable for me, the Stalker. That may be something I might consider swapping out. Did you find anything you didn't like or anything you would want to change?
Again, merely things adjusted to my height. So the seat, if there was a shallower seat, the brake pedal, something shorter so that I don't have to reach for it. I like to have my feet on the pegs rather than moving them around too much. Things like that. The bars, these are things that could be adjusted by the individual with a couple of wrenches in an hour.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for spending the day with us today, Stuart. You did a great job.
This was great.
Perfect.